Hello, my name's Tom and I'm from the Global Recordings Network Australia. Each month, I usually interview our CEO, Christine, to see what's been happening that month at GRN. Unfortunately, at the moment, she's overseas at some international conferences. So, this month, I'm here with Brad. He's one of our premier recordists, our trainee recordists at GRN Australia, and he's going to be showing us what's been happening at GRN Australia in March. Over to you, Brad.
Thanks very much, Tom. I'll take this. You take that. Right, we're going to go and have a chat with some people and find out what's been happening in the different departments around the office. Let's go. We're going to start by talking to Simon, who is the head of the Australian studios. G'day, Simon.
Hi there, Brad.
How you going?
Good, thanks.
What's been happening in the Australian studios this past month?
Well, in the last month, we've been pretty busy. We've been continuing on with our remastering and remastered upwards of a dozen programs in the last month, which were previously unavailable. We've also been doing a fair bit of recording. There's one young fellow who I know has been working pretty hard on recording the Living Christ script in Arabic.
Yes, I've heard of him.
And also the plain English version, the Book of Romans for Aboriginal English speakers. We've also been continuing on with some of our music recording in the language of Mongolian. We've also just started a new music project in the Dinka language from South Sudan, which is also very exciting.
So there's a wide variety of different types of recordings you're currently working on. Any other non-recording type projects that are happening?
Yes, we're actually in the middle of putting together a series of training videos aimed at our recordists around the world to help them to overcome some of the common mistakes that recordists make when they're out in the field.
Right, so in addition to the recording and production work that we have here, Australia seems to be helping out overseas as well.
Absolutely, we play a big part in helping to support the people who are out in the field in other countries, wherever they may find themselves.
Great. Thanks so much, Simon. So, moving from the studios, let's talk computers. We're going to have a chat with Rob now from Information Systems. G'day, Rob.
G'day, Brad.
Would you like to tell us some of the things that have been happening in IS this month?
Sure. Last week we released a new version of the Fivefish Android app that gives people access to all of the recordings that we have. The main aspect of that release was that we updated the translations in the user interface and added one whole new translation that we haven't had before.
Okay, so the user interface, that's the part that people will read when they're actually using the app, and so people can read it now in new languages, right?
That's right. It helps make the app more available and more accessible to more people.
What was one of the new ones that you were able to ship with this latest update?
Yep, the new language was Italian, but we also updated Chinese and Spanish and several other languages as well.
Cool. Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us about?
Oh, one of the big thing that we did this month, maybe not very exciting to people outside of Information Systems, but we updated the file server. That's the system that we use to provide the studio access to our audio archive. And we had to bring that up to date to keep it secure and keep it functioning well.
Okay, so this is just some of the unseen work, but so critical to the way we function day to day.
Sure, we couldn't operate without this.
Well, thanks so much for sharing with us, Rob. We really appreciate your time. Well, I'd now like to talk to Mary, who works in reception. How are you, Mary, and what's been happening for you this month?
I'm well, and now and then some of our staff get sick. So in the last 3 or 4 months, some of them have been affected by COVID and have had to stay at home. So there's a few of us that have been filling in for them.
So have you been maybe filling in some roles or duties that you would not ordinarily do? What are some of those things?
Well, my main job is answering the telephone, and I can redirect calls to other people. But with some of the people away, I answer questions and I might take an order and process it a little bit more than what I normally would do.
So you've had to shift on your feet and do some things that you wouldn't ordinarily have to do to fill in.
That's right, yes.
Oh, well, it's great to know that we can count on you for things outside your comfort zone, and we really appreciate it. So thanks for sharing with us. Well, that's all we've got time for this month. Thanks everybody for sharing in the journey with us and for your support. We'll see you next month for the next monthly update. Cheers.